Welcome to another episode of Confinement Day. I'm still locked down in my room. Can go out in 2 days' time. Meanwhile, I'm still bored at home, and I just discovered some footage that I took, I guess, over 3 weeks ago in Australia, in New South Wales, on a farm. And so actually what I wanted to do is drying and mustering sheep only with the drone. So let's jump right into it. I'm just gonna play the video and make comments on top of it. I'm doing it in English because I guess more English speaking people would appreciate that kind of video than French or German people. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. Alright, so this is Toffee. According to her owner's best dog. She is a really good dog, I have to admit. And this is a paddock that I wanted to get the sheep out from over there, going through this gate over there, where you can see the 2 water troughs. They gave me some big trouble. They go in front of the shearing shed, straight through that gate next to the electric post, going again through that little paddock, and in the middle there you can see another gate. So first of all, the thing is, you get the drone onto the other side of the paddock. You don't have to drive through to annoy the sheep. You just come in from behind and you try to fly as close to them, but not too close so they don't get too frightened. Pretty low as well, so they actually know it's a threat to them, not just any random bird. It's pretty complicated the first time to actually know which distance you have to fly towards a sheep, because sheep aren't used to drones, and the guy who flies a drone isn't used to fly next to sheep, to move sheep, because this isn't the purpose of a drone originally. So I tried first to regroup the sheep, to get them all together into a small mob. I think the first thing that happened is they got into a line, and then further away they got all together. So it takes a little while first. Maybe I'll just put some music on top of it so you can enjoy it. Right, so while this is still playing, I'll just show you the drone that I used to move the sheep. So this is a Mavic 2 from DJI. DJI is that brand. They're not paying me for that video, but if you want to, you can always do so. This drone is, I think personally, the best drone you could get just to do anything, because it's got a 4 times optical zoom. That means you don't lose quality over zooming 4 times into the image, which is fantastic, because if you want to check water troughs over a hill and you can't go down too much because you would lose connection on top of it, you can just zoom in and see as good as if you would fly down a few times. So this is fantastic. It folds up like, I think it would fit into a big pocket. And you just fold it up, fold it out, then it's big like that. You can fold out the propellers. You have to actually, inside of there is a camera. That's a really good gimbal, and the quality is like, you can film in 4K and 60 FPS, which is pretty fantastic if you're into filmmaking. And I'm not sure a smaller drone would do the job, because it's much more silent. It doesn't make as much noise, even though I've got the silent propellers on this one. I'm not sure if they're really more silent than the other ones, but anyways, that's how the pack from DJI says. And a lighter drone, the thing is, if you've got too much wind, the lighter drone won't cope with it, because it will just fly away with that wind. It won't be able to resist and sit heavily into the wind and stay where it is. And one time it kicks over, that's it, you've lost the drone. If you're lucky enough, it's pretty low to the ground and you won't have made much damage to it. If you're not lucky, it just falls down 100 meters and that's it, you can just buy a new one. And they are not cheap. You would look for this one, you'd need 3 batteries. Each battery would last you for 30 minutes, so 3 batteries is just perfect. That's an hour and a half of flying, which is just about enough to get all of the troughs from your farm. It's got 8 kilometer range. You will not make the 8 kilometers there and back, I think, with the battery. However, I did test on that same farm to see how far the drone would go. With a hill in between, it made 4.5 Ks there and back without any problems. I was just worried about the battery, but as soon as I was back, I still had, I think, 8 minutes of battery left. So it could do 5 or 5.5 Ks there and back pretty easily without stopping for troughs, of course. So here on this image, we can see now the mob is all together and is going towards the gate, but that's the wrong gate actually. So I want them to move to that shed on in the middle of the screen on the left shed. Sheep are still a bit confused, running into the wrong direction. The good thing with the drone is, compared to riding a motorbike, is that you can have an overall view of your mob if you just fly up a few meters, like 20 meters, which gives you a good advantage, because you'll see later on when the sheep are next to the gate in the trough, you can't really see if there is some sheep moving on the other side, moving forward, or just sticking to the trough. And this makes it very, very hard if you don't have the drone while you move sheep on this kind of gate. Honestly, I don't like these gates because I'll just explain it to you in a minute. I'll draw it for you so you can understand it. If you're a farmer, you probably have these kind of gates and troughs on your farm. I don't like them, even if they are great, because you just need a set of troughs for a few paddocks and you can share them between the paddocks. But for moving sheep, it's just terrible. Maybe I'm just not patient enough. That could be it as well. I'm just gonna put some music again on top of these images. It's just moving the flock towards the gate. All right, I'll see you in a minute. So I'm just gonna represent the fences with that black line, so it's gonna be easier to understand. So it's more or less like that. Yeah, there's another fence going there, and that's the fence here. So this is the gate that's swung open that way, and here in the middle there was 2 troughs. So the troughs make it really difficult, because as soon as, just a second, so as soon as the sheep go over there, they don't think much for themselves. As soon as they go towards the trough, and the gate is at the place where the troughs are, which is pretty annoying, they should be just like next to here or here. So if the sheep go through, they think, oh great, that's water, the guy who moved me just wanted me to go to the water, get a drink, and then I can just chill back on the grass a bit later when he's gone. And absolutely, that's not what I wanted them to do. They just had to go through and out there. But even when they got here, they stopped because I couldn't put any pressure on them up from here because all the mob was still around here. And so as soon as it's over there, it looks back, it sees a trough, it's thinking exactly the same, like, oh, that's nice, there's a trough, I'm just gonna walk back and have a drink. And then the other sheep can't move in. So it's actually a small mob that sticks around here, goes out a little bit of the gate, and the rest is stuck next to the gate, in the paddock still. So this is exactly what's happening on those images over there. She was, just as I explained on that drawing, the sheep would just not go through that bloody gate. And as you put pressure on one side of the mob, the other side the other part of the mob decides, oh, there's a gap here, we're just gonna run back to the flock, to the paddock. And it was just a mess. So I was still next to the quad bike that you see on the right hand side, on the left now, on the middle. And at this point I just got sick of it, decided to go into the paddock and have some physical presence. And you can see Toffee on the left side now. She wanted to help me. And to go into the paddock, she had to go through the gate and chase all of the sheep away. So she didn't mean to, she meant well. Didn't turn out that well. You can see, I think, 2 black lambs in that mob, in that flock. And the flock is, just if you're curious to know what kind of sheep they are, it's some normal, I think pretty average merinos, good lambs, in a good shape, with a good condition score. And yeah, just about 20 microns. 20 microns, 20 and a half, maybe 19 and a half, I'm not too sure about that. And Toffee's trying just to get them back to the gate. I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. The idea was just getting the drone down. It doesn't work. I'm gonna do it the traditional way, get the quad bike and just push them with the sound of the motor. And then suddenly I realized that some of the sheep got through and moved away. So normally the other sheep would move with them. What happened? So I was fairly happy about that, it worked. Maybe I was just not patient enough, but still 15 minutes to move a mob. Actually no, it's not 15 minutes, it's like 10 minutes, 12 minutes. Still not very good, very fast. Just giving a patty to Toffee. And then something unexpected happened. The sheep found their way to the other gate, just by themselves. I think it's just a few clever sheep in front, maybe 2 or 3, wanting to explore and Usually if one sheep moves, the rest of the flock goes with them. So they found the right paddock, went through by themselves. I just had to see if no sheep would go to the right hand side of the screen. They didn't go too far and just followed very nicely as they should. So if you're watching this, I imagine you're a farmer and I won't teach you anything. And I'm honestly, I don't know much about farming. I'm just a wool backpacker, as I used to call myself. Just very curious and eager to learn about wool, and I've been on a couple of farms and seen how it works, how different properties operate around the world. Some of them were amazing because they were able to move. I saw once in Argentina guys moving 3,500 sheep by 6 horses and 3 guys walking, which is so impressive, and they're so good on the horses. I was just able to go on the horse and that's it. What I did here is I think I just wanted to change the batteries, because if that's already like 20 minutes of filming, of flying in the air, if I hadn't the battery charged completely, you should always charge your batteries. You never know if you're gonna use it because there is a beautiful sunset, just charge them. So I catched it. I couldn't land it on the ground because Toffee is very, very curious about the drone, and that's it, I wanted to change the battery. And as Toffee is so curious, I don't know if she would not see the blades and run into it, so I didn't want her to hurt herself. So this is a great thing about the drones as well, is you can just reach out for them, stick your hand up in the air and grab it and catch it. So these sheep are a bit confused, and you can see it's difficult to see right now. At the far end, some sheep, I think 50% of them already went through that gate and are in the right paddock, and the other half is just chilling over here next to the fence, confused, not knowing what to do and just chilling. So I helped them a little bit with the drone, got onto one side, applied some pressure on them, got through. And this is a good fence. This is a good gate system, I think. Because the trough, you don't see it here, you'll see it later on. The trough is next to the gate, but on the other side of the opening. So if the sheep wants to drink something, it won't really notice the gate, or it will if a sheep walks through. And if it walks through, it doesn't see the trough. So it doesn't stop actually there. It just goes through. That's perfect in my opinion. So while some of them are going through here, the others that are thirsty have a drink. And this trough also goes onto the other side. It's a bit longer. So if one sheep missed it, it can just go back. There you see one of them goes to have a drink, second one. And you can see some of the sheep jumping. That's just because there is a little bit of water. It rained a lot in the last days. This shot was taken on the Easter weekend. So this is, I think, the 1st or 2nd week of April 2020. And the 3 last years, this area of Australia was in such a bad condition. It almost didn't rain for 3 entire years. They had the worst records on rain in 2019 since they started doing records, so that's 150 years I think. And if you want to know more about this topic, there's another video on my channel called Don McDonald about the drought in Australia. and he gives you some very good and precious information about that area. Covered in nice images that I took with the drone, so you can see what the drone can do also, as well. And I think at this moment I just grabbed the quad bike. That's it, going through. If you're still new to farming, which can always happen if you watch this video, one thing you have to be aware of, if you're moving sheep through a gate and a second gate or a third gate, always close the last gate you moved them through. Because if they go back suddenly, you never know, it can always happen. If they go back again through the gate, you'll be so disappointed because you did a whole lot of work just for nothing. Because you have to do it again, just because you forgot to close a gate. Think about it. It happened to me once or twice, maybe 3 times, maybe more. Won't talk about it. And this is it, the end of the mission. So it took me just above 20 minutes to move a mob of few hundred lambs. Lambs are always more difficult to move, I think, from my experience. Don't judge on the beach shorts I'm wearing. And it was a pretty good day. It was beginning of winter, maybe still end of autumn. Autumn. So the temperature wasn't too warm to move sheep in the afternoon. And there you see Toffee. As soon as the drone is not up in the air anymore, the blades doesn't create any wind and noise, she just turns back and thinks sheep are more interesting than the drone. So drones will just stop working if the drone is too close to them. They're way too interested in knowing what is the drone. And if you show them, once you've landed, they just don't care. For them, it's just a random object. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys. If you enjoyed it, if you liked it, maybe leave a pouce bleu, we say in French, which is a little like on the video. I don't have any more content about farming right now, but if you're interested, please tell me in the comments and I'll try to make other videos on drones or farms in general. If you want to learn how a farm works, maybe that could be interesting in another country. This is Australia, so this is mostly the typical way of farming sheep. And so if it helped you about knowing if you should purchase a drone or not, as Casey Neistat said,
when it's time to buy a drone, it's not do you buy a DJI drone, it's just which DJI drone do you buy.
Alright, thanks for watching guys, see you the next time, and cheers.